Carmaker Stellantis makes investment announcement at Vauxhall Car Factory. Stellantis reintroduces 7 diesel models in Europe amid disappointing EV sales. Diesel cars offer competitive edge over Chinese EV rivals, and Stellantis, focused on customer demand, wants to generate growth. This story's Reuters, February the 13th. Fiat to Jeep owner Stellantis is quietly resurrecting diesel versions of at least 7 car and passenger van models across Europe as it retreats from electric vehicles, according to a review of dealer websites and company statements to Reuters. In a previously unreported strategic shift, Will number 4 automaker Stellantis began in late 2025 to reintroduce diesel versions in Europe for models ranging from various passenger vans to the Peugeot 308 and premium DS4 hatchback. EV sales have lagged expectations, and the shift comes as Europe waters down emissions targets that would allow combustion engines to stay around for longer. The United States, Stellantis' main market, is also retreating from EVs under President Donald Trump, whose administration this week repealed a scientific finding that greenhouse gas emissions endanger human health, eliminating car and truck tailpipe emission standards. We have decided to keep diesel engines in our product portfolio and in some cases to increase our powertrain offer, the company told Reuters in response to the news agency's findings. At Stellantis, we want to generate growth. That's why we are focused on customer demand. The graphic shows diesel car sales in Europe versus fully electric cars and plug-in hybrids from 2020 to 2025. Competitive advantage versus China rivals. As recently as 2015, diesel vehicles made up at least 50% of new car sales in Europe, but they've been declining since the Dieselgate standard that year, when some of the largest car makers were found to have manipulated emission tests. According to data from European car lobby group ACEA, diesel vehicles made up just 7.7% of new car sales across the continent in 2025, while fully electric cars accounted for 19.5%. That's easy to say when everybody stopped making diesels. Nobody's buying new diesels because they're not making new diesels. Which bit of that don't you understand? Many automakers have shelved diesels altogether, while Stellantis itself offers only a handful of models versus dozens just 5 years ago. But crucially, it is a segment where rising Chinese rivals specialising in EVs do not compete. Diesels also carry a much lower price tag than fully electric models, giving them a competitive advantage at a time when car makers are struggling. Stellantis last week announced €22.2 billion, $26.4 billion in charges as it scales back its EV ambitions, sending its shares to their lowest since the group's 2021 creation through the merger of Fiat Chrysler and Peugeot maker PSA. The company previously said fully electric cars should make up 100% of its European sales and 50% of US sales by 2030, but demand in both markets has fallen short of expectations. Stellantis has already brought back popular combustion engine models like the Jeep Cherokee and its powerful Hemi 8-cylinder engine as part of its strategy to regain US market share. Last year it added a petrol hybrid version of the Fiat 500 alongside an electric version. Well, they brought the electric version out and they stopped making petrols in the Fiat 500, but then they realised that the electric Fiat 500 wasn't selling, and they had to re-engineer the 500 to take an ICE engine because it was designed for electric. There are still pre-registered delivery mileage 2022 Fiat 500 EVs for sale. That's how popular they were, and I would imagine that there's a lot more hidden away somewhere. In Europe, where the company's sales fell 3.9% in 2025 and 7.3% in 2024, diesel versions of the Opel Astra, Opel Combo van, the 7-seater SUV Peugeot Rifter, the Citroën Berlingo passenger van and others are being brought back, Reuters found. it will also continue producing diesel-powered models like the premium DS7 SUV and the Tonale and Stelvio SUVs and Giulia sedan from Alfa Romeo. Who wants an Alfa Romeo EV? Hey? Who wants an Alfa Romeo with an electric engine? Nobody, because they're all enthusiasts that buy Alfa Romeos. In response to sustained customer demand, the company said, bucking the trend. Data from online marketplace Car Gurus shows total new diesel models in the UK have also fallen to 57 in 2025 from 167 in 2020. Collectively, the brand Stellantis sells in Britain, for example, offer just 4 diesel models today, down from 26 in 2020. If you look at the direction of travel when it comes to diesel, Stellantis now seems to be bucking the trend, said Chris Knapman, Car Gurus UK editorial director. Again, I've said this about this Knapman guy before. He just writes stories from what I can gather. That's it. So why is he making any comments whatsoever? Who cares? He doesn't seem to be at the sharp end of the motor trade. I could be wrong. But even so, who cares? What does he know that Stellantis don't know? Why ask him for a comment? That's what doesn't make sense. UK editorial director Knapman said, diesel still makes sense for car buyers that need to drive long distances without refueling, or who need more power to tow trailers. Also, Chinese car brands are coming in with lots of new electric and plug-in hybrid cars, he said. If you're a European brand looking to differentiate yourself, diesel is an area where you could have a competitive advantage over those newer brands. Reporting by Gilles Guillaume. What do I think of this? Stellantis brings diesel back. Interesting. So in the Reuters report, it says Stellantis is quietly bringing diesel back across Europe. At least 7 models, including cars like the Peugeot 308 and the DS4, plus passenger vans and MPVs. And Stellantis told Reuters, in plain English, diesel is staying in the portfolio. And in some cases, they're increasing the powertrain offer because they're focused on customer demand. Their customers are demanding diesels, but the Mickey Mouse EV people are saying diesel's dead. Stop making stuff that people wanted. That's what's happened. Now, if diesel was dead, if EV demand was unstoppable, why would a global top 4 car maker reverse course like this? Stellantis brings diesel back. Reuters, February the 13th, 2026. This is the part everyone's missing. Manufacturers follow money, not slogans. Car companies do not do this for nostalgia. They do it because the sales mix isn't landing the way they planned. Reuters points out EV sales have lagged expectations, and Stellantis has taken big charges, €22.2 billion, as it scales back EV ambitions. That's not a minor adjustment. That's a strategic reality check. Diesel is a weapon against cheap Chinese EV competition. Diesel is a segment where Chinese EV-focused rivals don't really compete. So if you're a European brand trying to defend market share, diesel can be a differentiator, especially when buyers are price sensitive. And let's be honest, for many drivers, diesel still offer long range, quick refueling, strong motorway economy, and great towing ability. Car Guru's UK editorial director is quoted saying Stellantis now looks like it's bucking the trend, and that diesel still makes sense if you do long distances, need range or tow. The numbers tell you the real story. Diesel shrank, but it didn't disappear. Reuters also references ACEA data. Diesel was 7.7% of new car sales in Europe in 2025. Fully electric was 19.5% in 2025. So yes, diesel's smaller than it used to be, but 7.7% in zero. What would EVs be without massive discounting? Yeah? You say Dieselgate and that manufacturers lied about diesels, there are more lies going about EVs than ever there were about diesels. Way more. And what's important is why people still choose it, because it fits their use case. ACEA 2025. My view, diesel can still be cheaper overall, especially when you include depreciation. This is where I stand. People love the phrase, EVs are cheaper to run. Sometimes they are, not very often, if you can home charge cheaply, but when you factor in real world charging costs for people without driveways, insurance differences, tyre wear, suspension wear, and the big one, depreciation, the diesel can absolutely be cheaper overall for a lot of drivers. And when Stellantis says they're focused on customer demand, what they're really saying is people are voting with their wallets. Greener depends on lifespan, and diesel longevity matters. Now I'm going to say the unpopular bit. A lot of debate is framed as tailpipe emissions. The whole truth, it isn't. If you want a serious conversation, you look at production footprint, how long the vehicle lasts, how many miles it does over its lifetime. A well-maintained diesel doing big motorway miles for 10 to 15 years that spreads its manufacturing footprint over a long life. And yes, that can change the which is greener equation versus a shorter life ownership cycle. I'm not saying diesel is clean. I'm saying the whole life picture is more complicated than the headlines. Let's be fair, diesel isn't for everyone. If you do mostly short trips, stop-start town driving, or you don't get the engine to work in temperature, you can run into DPF or EGR issues and higher maintenance. I've not actually come across that. That's just a disclaimer. So this isn't diesel good, EV bad. This is match the tool to the job. If you've got a big nail, you need a big hammer to knock it in with. Now, that's what one of my friends used to say. He wasn't referring to EVs, and he wasn't referring to hammers and nails, really. I'll let you work out what he meant. I'll give you a clue though. He had a big arse. The big takeaway, the EV takeover isn't happening on schedule. It's not happening as the shills are telling you it is, and it's not happening how they want to pretend it's happening. Stellantis previously talked about EVs being basically the future of everything by 2030. And now Reuters is reporting diesel models coming back, plus other combustion choices returning in different markets. That don't mean EVs are finished. It means the transition is not going to be as neat, as fast, or as cheap as certain people promised. I didn't believe them, and I've told you all along it wasn't going to go like that. Even today, I've seen Dan C's arse gobbing off again, calling people idiots, I think he's calling them. He's the idiot. He really is. They should shut him up, get him out of what he's doing. He's creating a bigger divide between electric vehicles and people who actually want them. He's doing more harm than good. Shut him up. The only idiot is him. Why do they keep picking people who are obnoxious to champion the cause of EVs? Why do they make an advert?
It completely took me by surprise. Just kind of went off really smoothly.
Yeah, it's great actually. I can get from London to Sheffield on a single charge. For like a £5.
I just plug in, then go in. It's easy. Neighbours liked it so much they got one too.
Switch to an EV and get that electric feeling.
You would not want to identify with those people in the advert. They're just ridiculous. They've picked the most ridiculous characters they could do. They make me cringe. The whole advert makes me cringe. There's people on TikTok making better adverts than whoever made that advert. In the bedroom, outside with an iPhone, and I mean, Jesus Christ, get rid of them advertising agencies. Look what they did to Jag. They're doing the same to EVs. So in closing, is this Stellantis being anti-EV? No, this is Stellantis being pro-sales. diesel is still a great option for the right driver. And yes, depending on how long you keep it and how you use it, it might even stack up better overall on costs, and possibly even on the bigger environmental picture. Question for you. What do you do each week? Motorway miles, towing, long commutes, or short town trips? Because just those details decide whether diesel or EVs make sense. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.